Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is The Ivy Houses of Willemsstraat. Hush now, little one. Pull the blanket up to your chin. Tonight we travel to Amsterdam, a long time ago on a soft, slow evening with a lemon-yellow sky. In a part of the city called the Jordan, a small girl named Saar walked beside her grandmother. Her wooden shoes made a quiet clip-clop on the cobblestones. The street was wide and dusty. A few black and white cats sat in doorways, blinking at the warm afternoon. Oma Greet, Saar said, "This street feels brand new under my feet." Her grandmother smiled, eyes crinkled like old paper. "It is new, my little one, almost. Listen and I will tell you a secret." She bent down, her shawl smelled of dried lavender and wood smoke. Once, a tiny canal lived right where we are standing. Saar gasped. She looked at her shoes, half expecting to see water lapping at them. It had a pretty name, Goudsblomgracht. That means the Marigold Canal, but the water did not flow well. It grew tired and slow, and it did not smell sweet. So 6 years ago, in 1857, men with shovels and carts came. They filled the canal, scoop by patient scoop. They pressed the earth down flat. They laid these gray stones on top. Saar tapped her toe. The ground was firm and warm from the afternoon sun. She tried to picture little fish swimming under her feet, fast asleep beneath the stones. The next morning, sunlight poured over the red rooftops like honey. Saar peeked out of the small attic where she lived with Oma Greet. The room was so tiny that one bed and one table filled it up. A new sound floated up the stairs. Footsteps and the soft tap-tap of a walking stick. She hurried outside. There, in the middle of the street, stood a tall man in a long brown coat. He carried rolls of paper under one arm. His shoes were polished and his hat was very neat. "Oma, who is that?" Saar whispered. Oma stepped to the door. The morning air smelled of fresh bread from the corner bakery. "That, my Saar, is Mr. Hamer, Mr. Pieter Hamer. He is an architect." Saar tasted the new word, architect. "What does an architect do, Oma?" "An architect draws a house on paper before it is built. He decides where each door and each window will go." "Mr." Hamer unrolled a big paper across a wooden crate. Inside the paper were thin black lines and tiny careful squares. He took a long ribbon from his pocket. Slowly, he walked from one corner to the next, counting his steps under his breath. "He is measuring the street so the new houses will fit just right." "Mr." Hamer looked up. He had kind gray eyes. "Good morning, little neighbor." Saar curtsied the way Oma had taught her. He knelt down and showed her a corner of his drawing. Along the top of a doorway, he had sketched tiny leaves. "Are those leaves?" "Yes," he said. "Ivy leaves, we will carve them out of pale stone." "Why ivy?" she asked. Mr. Hamer thought for a moment. "Because ivy holds on even in cold weather. A good home should hold on too." He rolled up his paper, tipped his hat, and walked on. Saar watched him go, the ribbon swinging from his hand like a little tail. Day by day, the empty lot near their attic filled with bricks the color of warm tea. Workers wore canvas aprons. They called softly to one another in the slow Amsterdam way. "Hand me the trowel." "Mind your foot, Claus." The smell of fresh mortar drifted along the street, chalky and a little bit sweet. Inside the attic, Oma sat by the window weaving willow strands into a small bread basket. Her fingers moved like quiet birds, in and out, in and out. The Jordan was full of busy hands. There were weavers, dyers, leather makers, and bakers. Each shop wore the smell of its work like a friendly apron. In the afternoons, Saar perched on a low wall and watched the stone carvers. Their tiny chisels made a small sound, tink, tink, tink. They tapped flowers above each window. They tapped little curls along the tops of walls. Some of the patterns looked like the edge of a fancy lace collar. Oma said the style was called Dutch Renaissance. It was an old, friendly way of decorating a building. The houses stood in a long, neat row, like friends holding hands. Each window matched the one across from it. "That is called symmetrical," Oma said. Saar tried the word. "Symmetrical." It tickled her tongue like a bubble. The houses had a long official name, Constantiawoningen. It meant houses of constancy, because they were meant to last and last. But the neighbors had a softer name. They simply called them the Ivy Houses. One evening, the sky turned the color of soft peaches. Oil lamps began to glow in the windows along the street. Saar sat on Oma's lap. She traced the lines on Oma's hand. "Oma, who will live in the Ivy Houses?" Oma's voice was warm. Grandmothers and grandfathers, my dear, anyone older than 60. The rent will be very small, for some even nothing at all. Saar's eyes opened wide. Oma, you are 63. Oma laughed, a low, dimply laugh, and pulled her close. Yes, my Saar, yes I am. There is a special group of kind people in our city. They are called the Very Nijing. They build homes for workers who used to share one tiny room. They want everyone to have a fair place to rest their head. Mr. Hamer is helping them. Saar looked up the street. A row of brand new chimneys waited for their first puffs of smoke. She wondered which chimney would be theirs. A small, hopeful feeling settled in her chest, like a bird tucking itself in. The day to move came in early summer, 1863. The morning was full of light. Bread baked somewhere down the street and laundry flapped on a line above their heads. A man from the Very Nijing walked up with a little wooden box. He had a careful, quiet voice. Mevrouw Greet? Oma nodded, hands folded. He opened the box. Inside, on a small velvet cushion, lay an iron key. A red ribbon was tied to the top, like a tiny scarf. Number 11 Willemsstraat, he said, smiling. Welcome home. Oma held the key as if it were made of glass. Saar bounced on her toes. Her cheeks felt very warm. Oma, why is our street called Willemsstraat? Oma sat on the front step and pulled Saar close. The stone felt cool through her dress. Long ago, Holland had a king named Willem the First. His birthday was the 24th of August. On that very day, in 1857, our new street was open to the people. So the city wrote his name on a sign and gave him a small gift in stone, Willem Street, Willemsstraat. Saar tried to picture a king with a tall hat blowing out birthday candles. She giggled into her hand, then she thought of something. Oma, does the king know our street has his name? I do not know, my Saar, but the street remembers him. That is enough. They stood up. Oma turned the key in the lock. The door opened with a slow, kind creak. Inside, the floor was clean wood. A small window let in a square of late sunlight that landed on the wall like a yellow handkerchief. Saar ran to the corner and back. The room felt big after their attic. There is space for a chair, Oma, and a table, and a place for your weaving basket. Oma walked slowly through the room, her hand brushing the wall. She nodded, eyes shining. Outside, above the door, the carved leaves caught the gold of the setting sun. Saar reached up on tiptoe and touched one stone leaf with the tip of her finger. Hello, little Ivy, she whispered. We will be neighbors now. She thought she heard the leaf say hello back, very softly, in the Amsterdam wind. That night, Saar lay on a fresh mattress that smelled of clean straw. She thought of Mr. Hamer somewhere across the city, drawing more houses on paper. She thought of the long-ago king and his August birthday. She thought of small stone leaves keeping watch above their door. Her eyes grew heavy. Her breath grew slow. The lamps along Willemsstraat dimmed, one gentle one at a time. And so, Amsterdam also slowly, slowly fell asleep. Good night.